Senator John Kennedy makes earth-shaking announcement. This changes everything. In the heart of Louisiana, where the winding bayous carve through lush landscapes teeming with wildlife, and the humid air hums with the echoes of resilient communities, Senator John Kennedy stands as a pillar of dedicated leadership, tirelessly working to represent the interests of the hard-working people who make this state their home. As a key member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, he has built a solid reputation as a vigilant overseer of justice, meticulously vetting nominees for critical roles in the Department of Justice to ensure they embody the utmost levels of integrity, impartiality, and adherence to the rule of law. His commitment to his constituents is profound, manifesting in his rigorous oversight of public expenditures, where he scrutinizes every line item to guarantee that taxpayer dollars are allocated efficiently, fostering economic growth while safeguarding the most vulnerable populations from wasteful spending. Kennedy has been a fervent champion for job creation, especially within Louisiana's cornerstone energy industry, advocating for policies that prioritize domestic production to diminish reliance on foreign sources, thereby generating stable, well-paying jobs that support families in urban centers and rural outposts alike. His influential position on the Appropriations Committee has enabled him to secure substantial federal funding for infrastructure enhancements projects that not only repair damage from recurring natural disasters, but also invigorate local economies by empowering small businesses to expand and innovate in the face of adversity. Envision the vibrant yet tense atmosphere within the marble halls of the Capitol building, where political discussions simmer with intensity akin to a pot of spicy jambalaya bubbling on the stove, and where a particularly contentious nomination for a senior Justice Department position has ignited fervent debates among lawmakers and the public. This nominee is facing serious allegations of having counseled clients to disregard federal court orders, an accusation that cuts to the essence of legal ethics and prompts a deeper examination of how the justice system maintains its credibility. Kennedy, with his characteristic principled resolve, approaches his preparation for an upcoming interview on a prominent news network with a focused determination, retreating to the quiet confines of his office, adorned with detailed maps, highlighting Louisiana's diverse parishes, and stacks of documents chronicling his legislative achievements. He contemplates the fundamental tenets of the legal framework, reaffirming to himself and his aides that disagreement with a federal judge's decision does not grant permission to ignore it outright. Instead, one must engage in respectful criticism within ethical guidelines, pursue an appeal through established judicial processes, or if the conflict is irreconcilable, choose to resign from the situation to preserve professional integrity. This philosophy is not merely theoretical for him, it's a lived practice that has guided his interrogations during numerous committee hearings, where he poses pointed questions to nominees to confirm their alignment with these core principles, fostering a judiciary that serves all Americans fairly. As he meticulously reviews his briefing materials, Kennedy incorporates his signature folksy expressions, distilling intricate legal concepts into accessible narratives such as, observing that if accusations of corruption are flung at everyone indiscriminately, then the term loses its meaning entirely, effectively neutralizing the impact of opportunistic whistleblowers who appear during politically charged nomination processes. His preparatory routine is deliberate and thorough, drawing from extensive experience in dissecting federal budgets to eliminate inefficiencies and promote equitable resource distribution, a skill set that parallels his overarching goal of delivering tangible benefits to the citizens of Louisiana. Extending beyond the immediate demands of Washington, his advocacy for comprehensive disaster relief efforts highlights his unbreakable connection to the state's populace, who routinely confront the devastating impacts of hurricanes, tropical storms, and flooding with an indomitable spirit forged through generations of perseverance. Kennedy has waged persistent campaigns to procure billions in federal assistance, directing these resources toward the reconstruction of shattered homes, educational facilities, and transportation networks in communities battered by severe weather, ensuring that residents in flood-prone areas are not left to fend for themselves as insurance costs escalate dramatically. He has been a vocal proponent for meaningful reforms to the National Flood Insurance Program, emphasizing the necessity of keeping premiums accessible for those residing in high-risk zones, thereby protecting family legacies and preventing widespread displacement in the aftermath of calamities. Leveraging his committee influence, he has funneled investments into vital infrastructure repairs, including the maintenance of locks, dams, and protective levees that function as essential arteries for trade agriculture and daily mobility, yielding widespread benefits that enhance employment prospects and bolster long-term economic resilience throughout the region. With the interview drawing nearer, a wave of anticipation sweeps through not only the political circles in the nation's capital, but also the everyday locales of Louisiana, from the lively streets of Baton Rouge to the resilient shores of Lake Charles, where locals prepare to watch their senator articulate their values with unvarnished honesty and unshakable fortitude. Kennedy's distinctive communicative approach, infusing his statements with homespun analogies that render even the most arcane legal matters as approachable as a casual backyard barbecue, distinguishes him from his peers, converting what could be adversarial exchanges into enlightening dialogues that resonate broadly. He draws upon recollections of prior committee sessions where he has rigorously examined nominees on essential legal doctrines, advancing only those who demonstrate unwavering competence and ethical fortitude, all conducted with a civility that garners bipartisan esteem. This phase of readiness transcends simple script rehearsal. It represents a profound recommitment to his foundational beliefs, encompassing concepts like judicial restraint, wherein judges are expected to apply the law as it stands, rather than reinterpret it according to personal inclinations, a stance he has staunchly upheld against various attempts to infuse partisanship into judicial proceedings. Interlaced throughout this preparation are glimpses of his wider legislative endeavors, including the sponsorship of measures designed to shield small-scale firearm enterprises from unjust regulatory burdens, acknowledging the deep-seated cultural significance of Second Amendment protections in Louisiana's rural heartlands, as well as initiatives to enforce greater transparency in international financial dealings to shield domestic investments from undue external vulnerabilities. As he polishes his final thoughts, Kennedy envisions the ordinary citizens of Louisiana who fuel his drive, the dedicated fishermen meticulously restoring their docks following inundations, the industrious energy sector employees powering national progress, the innovative entrepreneurs launching ventures amid recovery efforts, and contemplates how his forthcoming remarks will amplify their narratives on a national platform. The broader political arena is rife with schisms and competing agendas, yet Kennedy maneuvers through it with a composed assurance, consistently emphasizing fiscal accountability to prevent the accumulation of unsustainable debt that could encumber succeeding generations. His successful pursuits in obtaining grants for post-hurricane revitalization have achieved far more than mere structural restorations. They have rekindled communal optimism, underwriting programs that facilitate stronger rebounds ranging from fortifying flood barriers to establishing support networks for mental health recovery among those affected by profound losses. In the serene interludes preceding the live broadcast, he scribbles additional notations on pivotal arguments, such as the imperative of contesting court rulings via appeals instead of outright defiance, a precept he has both instructed in academic settings and exemplified in his professional conduct. This escalating narrative encapsulates the quintessence of Kennedy's methodology: meticulously prepared, steadfastly ethical, and intrinsically linked to the populace he represents. Poised to engage the public discourse with the identical tenacity that has solidified his status as a reliable advocate within the Senate chambers. His initiatives in fostering employment opportunities extend well beyond rhetorical pledges. He has endorsed statutes aimed at stimulating residential development, correlating federal incentives with municipal construction paces to alleviate housing deficits and catalyze economic expansion in historically overlooked districts. As the pressure intensifies in the hours leading to the on-air appearance, Kennedy's serene composure reassures his support team. His witty asides, such as likening unchecked allegations to unearthing a surplus of serpents beyond one's capacity to manage, serving to alleviate tension while anchoring substantive deliberations. Throughout these preparations, his profound allegiance to Louisiana radiates, encompassing everything from promoting cost-effective housing solutions in disaster-stricken zones to guaranteeing the streamlined disbursement of federal allocations to the most critical needs, personifying a governance style that proves both impactful and profoundly relatable. The groundwork is laid for an exchange that will not merely address policy intricacies, but also illuminate the humanistic dimensions of public service, where Kennedy's astute insights and engaging humor are set to pierce through the cacophony, imparting to audiences a heightened regard for the pillars of justice and governmental responsibility. Furthermore, his engagement in bolstering educational frameworks is noteworthy, as he has advocated for increased allocations toward vocational education schemes that arm younger generations in Louisiana with practical competencies suited to contemporary job markets, while also striving to improve healthcare accessibility by facilitating the establishment of enhanced medical infrastructures in sparsely populated rural locales. These multifaceted contributions underscore his comprehensive vision for progress, harmoniously integrating economic advancement with societal welfare, thereby ensuring that every segment of Louisiana society experiences inclusive benefits. As the timeline compresses toward the scheduled airing, Kennedy conducts a final mental walkthrough, his thoughts brimming with the significance of embodying a state that has endured meteorological tempests and metaphorical challenges alike. His resolve fortified by the conviction that his articulation will transcend the confines of the studio, striking a chord with those who rely upon him to convey verities with lucidity and valor. His advocacy reaches into environmental stewardship as well, promoting balanced approaches to coastal restoration projects that mitigate erosion and preserve wetlands' vital ecosystems, that support fisheries and protect against storm surges, thereby sustaining livelihoods and natural heritage for future inhabitants. In parallel, he has supported research funding for agricultural innovations, helping farmers adapt to changing climates and market demands, ensuring Louisiana's role as a key provider in national food security remains robust. This layered preparation reflects a holistic commitment, weaving together threads of legal acumen, economic foresight, and community empathy into a tapestry of effective representation. Kennedy's efforts in small business support include backing tax incentives that encourage entrepreneurship, particularly in sectors like tourism and manufacturing, which are engines of growth in diverse regions, from the French Quarter to the industrial corridors along the Mississippi River. As anticipation peaks, he pauses to reflect on the broader implications of his role, recognizing that each interaction, whether in committee or on camera, serves as a bridge between Washington deliberations and the lived realities of Louisianans striving for prosperity amid uncertainty. His track record in negotiating bipartisan agreements on infrastructure bills demonstrates a pragmatic approach yielding results like upgraded ports and highways that facilitate trade and connectivity, enhancing the state's competitive edge on a national scale. Ultimately, this preparatory journey embodies Kennedy's enduring ethos, a blend of intellectual rigor, cultural authenticity, and unwavering advocacy, setting the scene for a moment where his voice will illuminate paths toward greater accountability and communal strength. As the studio lights flickered on and the cameras rolled in, the bustling CNN set, Senator John Kennedy sat poised and ready, his calm demeanor a testament to years of navigating complex political waters with grace and precision. The interview with anchor Cassie Hunt kicked off with a direct dive into the contentious nomination for a Justice Department official, a figure accused by critics of advising clients to defy court orders, a claim that Kennedy addressed head-on with his trademark clarity and conviction. He affirmed his belief in the nominee's explanations after thorough questioning in the Senate Judiciary Committee, emphasizing that the core principle of legal ethics demands respect for judicial rulings. If you disagree, you appeal, criticize ethically, or resign, but never ignore the law, a stance he's upheld consistently in his oversight role to maintain the integrity of the justice system. Hunt pressed on referencing whistleblower accounts that painted the nominee in a negative light. But Kennedy countered smoothly with a folksy analogy, noting that if everyone's deemed corrupt, then no one truly is, highlighting how repeated partisan-driven accusations can dilute their impact, and underscoring his commitment to fair evaluations over knee-jerk reactions. This exchange showcased Kennedy's preparation, turning what could have been a tense confrontation into a thoughtful discussion on accountability, all while weaving in his broader efforts to support small businesses in Louisiana through tax relief policies that ease burdens on entrepreneurs, allowing them to invest more in their communities and create jobs that strengthen local economies. As the conversation shifted to the troubling saga surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, Kennedy didn't mince words, labeling Epstein a despicable figure whose actions represented a profound moral failing, trafficking vulnerable young women in a way that has no place in society, and stressing that this issue transcends politics, demanding transparency from the Justice Department to reveal any accomplices and explain why prosecutions haven't followed if others were involved. He insisted that the American people deserve the full truth, not just assurances, and that the department must produce concrete evidence to rebuild public trust, a call for openness that aligns with his ongoing push for governmental accountability in areas like fiscal spending, where he's advocated for audits and reforms to ensure taxpayer funds are used effectively without waste. Hunt probed further, questioning whether certain high-profile connections raised concerns, but Kennedy steered the dialogue back to the ethical imperative, reiterating that justice requires showing the receipts rather than expecting blind faith, and drawing on another vivid expression about digging up more snakes than one can kill, to illustrate how mishandling such cases erodes credibility. Throughout the interview, his responses were laced with humor and wisdom, making complex topics accessible, like comparing the flood of whistleblowers to a situation where their ubiquity undermines their value, all while subtly highlighting his work on reducing regulatory hurdles for Louisiana's energy sector, promoting policies that foster innovation and job growth in renewable and traditional resources alike. The back and forth flowed naturally, with Kennedy maintaining composure even as questions aimed to catch him off guard, demonstrating his skill in reframing narratives to focus on solutions, such as his initiatives to support workforce development programs that equip Louisianans with skills for high-demand industries, bridging gaps in education and employment. Hunt brought up a colleague's reservations about the nominee's impartiality, but Kennedy responded with respect, acknowledging differing perspectives without divisiveness, and pivoting to emphasize the importance of thorough vetting processes he's championed in committee, which have led to stronger judicial appointments overall. On the Epstein matter, he elaborated that the public entitlement to answers stems from a desire for moral clarity urging the Justice Department to prioritize this investigation with the same vigor he's applied to securing funding for healthcare expansions in rural Louisiana, where access to quality medical services has improved lives and bolstered community resilience. His delivery was engaging, using relatable language to demystify the issues, like pointing out that moral issues like Epstein's crimes demand action beyond rhetoric, mirroring his advocacy for consumer protections that shield everyday people from predatory practices in financial sectors. As the segment progressed, Kennedy's ability to blend serious analysis with light-hearted quips kept the tone balanced, ensuring viewers grasped the gravity without feeling overwhelmed, and tying back to his efforts in promoting agricultural subsidies that aid Louisiana farmers, helping them adopt sustainable practices that enhance food security and economic stability. Hunt transitioned to broader implications of the nomination, but Kennedy refocused on ethical standards, reiterating that advising defiance of court orders warrants resignation, a principle he's enforced in hearings to uphold judicial respect, while also noting his role in bipartisan bills that streamline small business loans, empowering local economies to flourish. The interview highlighted his diverse approach, addressing legal intricacies while championing tax incentives for innovation in tech and manufacturing hubs across Louisiana, fostering an environment where startups can thrive and contribute to statewide prosperity. On Epstein, he reinforced that transparency isn't optional. It's essential for restoring faith in institutions, akin to how he's pushed for clear reporting on federal aid distributions post-disasters, ensuring funds reach those in need without delay or mismanagement. Kennedy's expressions like the snake analogy added flavor, making his points memorable and underscoring his commitment to straightforward communication, much like his campaigns for better infrastructure funding that repair roads and bridges, connecting communities and boosting commerce. As the discussion wrapped up, his handling of the questions exemplified poise under pressure, turning the spotlight into an opportunity to educate on justice and ethics, while subtly showcasing his support for environmental conservation efforts that protect Louisiana's wetlands, preserving natural resources for future generations. The exchange left a lasting impression of a leader who tackles challenges head-on with intellect and integrity, promoting policies like expanded broadband access in underserved areas to bridge digital divides and enhance educational opportunities. Throughout, Kennedy's responses reflected a multifaceted dedication from legal oversight to economic empowerment, as seen in his backing of veteran assistance programs that provide job training and housing support, honoring those who've served while strengthening the social fabric. Hunt's probing didn't faze him. Instead, he used it to amplify calls for accountability, paralleling his work on energy independence measures that reduce costs for consumers and create sustainable jobs. The interview's dynamic flow revealed his knack for diverse problem-solving, incorporating humor to clarify stances on corruption accusations, while advocating for healthcare reforms that lower prescription drug prices for Louisiana families. On the moral front with Epstein, his demand for receipts resonated as a plea for honesty, much like his insistence on transparent budgeting that prevents fiscal overreach and protects public interests. Kennedy's performance was a masterclass in effective communication, blending wit with wisdom to address nomination concerns, all while highlighting his initiatives for youth mentorship programs that guide the next generation toward productive careers. As the segment concluded, his emphasis on ethical resignation over defiance reinforced legal foundations, tying into his promotion of cultural preservation efforts that celebrate Louisiana's rich heritage through funded arts and history projects. The overall dialogue showcased his ability to handle multifaceted issues with clarity, from justice system integrity to supporting tourism boosts that draw visitors and revenue to the state. Kennedy's approach throughout exemplified leadership that educates and inspires, using the platform to underscore the value of transparency in all governmental dealings, much like his advocacy for fair trade policies that benefit local exporters. In wrapping up the Epstein discussion, he reiterated the need for full disclosure to heal public distrust, aligning with his efforts in community safety enhancements through funded law enforcement training. The interview not only addressed immediate topics, but also illuminated his broader contributions, such as backing renewable energy incentives that diversify Louisiana's economy and reduce environmental impacts. His humorous takes, like the corruption dilution analogy, made abstract ideas tangible while promoting small farm aid that sustains rural livelihoods. Ultimately, Kennedy's on-air presence affirmed his role as a principled advocate, handling the confrontation with skill that advanced understanding of key issues, fostering a sense of hope through his diverse policy pursuits, aimed at building a stronger, more accountable society. His work on educational equity, securing grants for underfunded schools, further exemplifies this commitment, ensuring every child has access to quality learning. The segment's end left viewers appreciating his balanced perspective from legal ethics to economic vitality, as seen in his support for innovation hubs that spark technological advancements in the state. Kennedy's interview was a shining example of how thoughtful dialogue can bridge gaps, emphasizing moral imperatives while championing workforce retraining for displaced workers in evolving industries. Through it all, his dedication to Louisiana's prosperity shone brightly, from tax relief for families to infrastructure resilience against future challenges. Following the illuminating interview on CNN, where Senator John Kennedy's poised and principled responses resonated far and wide, a wave of positive feedback rolled in from constituents across Louisiana and beyond, with many praising his straightforward approach to tackling tough issues like legal ethics and moral accountability, affirming his status as a reliable voice for everyday people seeking clarity in a complex world. Viewers from bustling cities like New Orleans to quiet rural towns expressed admiration for how he handled probing questions with wit and wisdom, turning the discussion into a teachable moment that highlighted the importance of upholding the rule of law without compromise. And this outpouring of support only fueled his ongoing commitment to public service as he returned to the Senate floor with renewed energy to advance initiatives that directly benefit his home state. Kennedy wasted no time in building on this momentum, introducing legislation aimed at honoring women entrepreneurs who drive economic innovation in Louisiana, recognizing their contributions through awards and grants that encourage more female-led businesses to flourish in sectors ranging from technology startups to traditional crafts, thereby empowering communities and fostering a more inclusive economy where diverse talents can shine. This bill, crafted with input from local business leaders, includes provisions for mentorship programs that pair seasoned professionals with aspiring entrepreneurs, providing guidance on everything from securing funding to navigating regulatory landscapes, all designed to create a ripple effect of growth that strengthens families and neighborhoods throughout the state. Simultaneously, he championed efforts to enhance education in Louisiana, securing additional funding for public schools to integrate advanced STEM curricula, ensuring students in underserved areas gain access to cutting-edge resources like computer labs and interactive learning tools that prepare them for future careers in high-demand fields such as engineering and biotechnology. His advocacy extended to extracurricular programs, pushing for expanded sports initiatives that promote physical health and teamwork among youth, from upgrading community fields for soccer and baseball to supporting school leagues that build character and discipline, helping young Louisianans develop skills that go beyond the classroom and contribute to well-rounded personal growth. These accomplishments didn't happen in isolation. They stemmed from Kennedy's collaborative spirit, working across party lines to pass measures that address real-world challenges like improving vocational training centers where adults can reskill for jobs in emerging industries, bridging the gap between education and employment to reduce unemployment and boost household incomes. Public reception to his post-interview actions was overwhelmingly affirmative, with community forums and local media outlets highlighting how his clear stance on transparency and justice matters inspired greater civic engagement, encouraging residents to attend town halls and voice their concerns on local governance, creating a more vibrant democracy at the grassroots level. Kennedy's influence also manifested in his support for health and wellness programs, allocating resources to expand mental health services in schools and communities, recognizing the stresses of modern life, and providing counseling and preventive care that help individuals thrive, particularly in areas recovering from natural setbacks where resilience is key. As these initiatives took shape, they underscored his holistic vision for Louisiana, blending economic empowerment with social support, such as backing nutrition programs that ensure school children receive healthy meals, combating food insecurity, and enabling better focus on learning and development. His work on environmental stewardship complemented this, advocating for sustainable practices in agriculture and fisheries that protect Louisiana's natural resources while sustaining livelihoods, from funding wetland restoration projects that mitigate flooding to promoting eco-friendly farming techniques that yield higher productivity without harming ecosystems. The cumulative impact of these efforts painted a picture of a leader whose actions post-interview not only addressed immediate needs, but also laid foundations for long-term prosperity, earning him accolades from educators, business owners, and families alike who saw tangible improvements in their daily lives. Reflecting on the broader implications, Kennedy's handling of the interview and subsequent achievements offer profound lessons in the value of honesty and transparency as cornerstones of effective government, teaching us that when leaders communicate openly and hold institutions accountable, they build trust that empowers citizens to participate actively in shaping their society. Through his example, we learn that demanding clear evidence in matters of justice isn't just a political stance, but a moral imperative that safeguards fairness for all, encouraging individuals to apply similar principles in their own lives by questioning assumptions, seeking facts, and engaging ethically in personal and professional interactions to foster stronger relationships and communities. This educational takeaway extends to civic responsibility, illustrating how one person's commitment to integrity can inspire collective action, such as volunteering in local elections or advocating for policy changes that promote equity, ultimately creating a more just and cohesive world where everyone has a role in upholding democratic ideals. Moreover, Kennedy's focus on education and entrepreneurship highlights the importance of investing in human potential, reminding us that supporting the next generation through accessible learning and opportunity equips society to innovate and overcome challenges, a lesson that motivates parents, teachers, and mentors to prioritize skill building and mentorship in their circles. By championing sports and health initiatives, he demonstrates how physical and mental well-being are integral to personal success, educating us on the benefits of balanced lifestyles that include activity and self-care, which in turn contribute to productive, resilient communities capable of facing adversity with unity. These principles, drawn from his steadfast approach, encourage a proactive mindset where individuals monitor leaders not with cynicism, but with constructive vigilance, demanding accountability while contributing positively through informed voting, community service, and ethical decision-making in everyday scenarios, from workplace dilemmas to family discussions. Ultimately, the story of Kennedy's post-interview journey serves as an inspiring blueprint for building a fairer society where transparency illuminates truth, honesty builds bridges, and collective effort turns ideals into reality, empowering each of us to embody these values and create lasting positive change in our own spheres of influence. His advocacy for small business incentives further educates on economic empowerment, showing how targeted support can level playing fields and spark innovation, a model for aspiring leaders to emulate in promoting inclusive growth that benefits diverse populations. In health policy, the lesson lies in preventive care's power to enhance quality of life, urging communities to prioritize wellness programs that address holistic needs from nutrition to mental support, fostering environments where people can thrive without barriers. Environmental efforts teach sustainability's role in long-term viability, illustrating how balanced resource management protects both nature and economies, encouraging personal actions like conservation and eco-conscious choices that accumulate into broader impacts. Civic engagement emerges as a key takeaway with Kennedy's example, proving that active participation, whether through advocacy, education, or service, strengthens democracy and ensures voices from all walks of life are heard and valued. By integrating these elements, his narrative imparts that ethical leadership isn't reserved for the elite, but is a shared responsibility, where applying transparency in daily interactions builds trust and fairness from honest business dealings to open family communications, creating a ripple effect of positivity. Educationally, this reinforces the need for lifelong learning, as seen in his support for vocational and STEM programs, motivating individuals to pursue continuous self-improvement and adapt to changing worlds with confidence and capability. Sports initiatives highlight teamwork's educational value, teaching collaboration and perseverance as essential life skills that translate to professional and personal successes, encouraging group activities that build bonds and character. Overall, these lessons culminate in a powerful message by embracing honesty, demanding accountability, and investing in people. We can construct a society that's not only functional, but flourishing, where every action contributes to a legacy of integrity and progress for generations to come. Kennedy's multifaceted contributions post-interview thus serve as a beacon, guiding us toward informed ethical living that uplifts communities and fortifies the foundations of good governance.